Do you believe that the federal government has a responsibility to ensure that all children, rural children, urban, rich, poor, special needs, have access to quality education?
That is certainly the goal of the president. He has said that he wants to make sure that there is equal access to quality education for every student in our country, which is why he is such a proponent of school choice. He doesn't believe that any child should be trapped in a failing school, that we should have parents have the ability to choose where their children can be able to go to school so that if they are in a failing school, they have an opportunity to have better education somewhere else, that they have the tools to be able to do that.
I'm starting to think the more I think about education system in America, I think the more misguided it was to allow Obama to sit here and push everyone to go to college. Not everyone needs to go to college. I just realized that now. Because what you have done is you have created an incentive structure where college essentially tries to pretend that they can be everything to everyone, when that is not the case. Every product is not supposed to be marketed to every person, right? Mercedes-Benz attracts a different kind of buyer than a Toyota Corolla, right? You can't be everything to everybody. And every business, if you see it, if you try to be everything to everybody, you will lack quality like no return. And that's why our education system has become. And as you saw from the intro, these people kept trying to say, hey, don't you believe that every American student should have access? 76% of American students are educated in the public school system. That means the government has a disproportional of influence over the education of American citizens. And everyone knows, everyone's complaining about how, people can't critically think, people can't do this. Whose fault is that? I can blame mostly the government. And this is why I call the Department of Education an unnatural monopoly, right? Like this is my problem that irks me with leftists. Like, they don't have any principles really, because they want to complain about price gouging. If you allow a corporation to have a monopoly on a market, they could abuse their position of power. But the government has an unnatural monopoly when it comes to education. They have 76% of the market share of educating our students, our children. And the left, they quiet. None of the concerns about abuse, misuse, corruption, none of those concerns come up. And this is the argument. On principle, I believe leftists should have some concerns about, hey, the Department of Education, you spent over the lifetime of the department, you spent over $2 trillion a year, and our educational scores keep going down. When we compare ourselves to the rest of the world, our education is going down. We have to make an adjustment here. And no comments from the left. And I think one of the reasons why is that I always talked about this with progressives, is that secretly, conscious or unconscious, you have a motivation that you only want control and power. That's it. And you use these superficial acts of appearing good, appearing virtuous, appearing principled as a way of manipulating your way into power. And Charlie Kirk's going to do a little clip here explaining why you should abolish the Department of Education.
Hold on. I got it. So last question. Hold on. So you would say I'm a misinformation machine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Fine. You're a teacher. Yes. What is a woman?
What is a woman? Oh, buddy. All right. So we define gender as a set of preferences that you have.
Already lost. Adult human female, call it a day. Bye-bye. Oh, that's a subjective definition. Language is a function of determining and communicating what you observe in reality. Language serves a function. What's the function of language? To communicate your ideas, your thoughts, your observations, your insights, not your feelings. Not your feelings. Because if we all operated in our own definition of what a woman is, there'll be a massive miscommunication. So language therefore loses function if it merely serves a subjective end. And this is the kind of critical thinking that it seems like you lose in our education system. The curiosity to ask, why? Why a woman isn't an adult human female? Why is it that we all knew what a woman was except recently 10 years ago? Now all of a sudden we don't know what a woman is. All of a sudden a woman is subjective. All of a sudden a woman is no longer an adult human female. Why did we change the definition? The left cannot answer these questions. And in place of not answering the questions, instead they try to gaslight you. try to paint you as a bad guy because you ask these questions. And this is what I'm talking about. Ask me a question I can't answer, not an answer I can't question. That is the philosophy of curiosity.
Gender is a set of preferences we have. Woman is a social construct that we've agreed upon. Typically, we imagine womanhood as makeup or whatever. It is.
So when it falls on you to convince us why we should change the definition of woman, instead of telling us what a woman is from your perspective, you're supposed to make the argument why your definition of woman is more accurate. And you see what these people, they double speak a lot. That's one thing I noticed. They're not very consistent when they talk about stuff. Okay, what are you basing that on? Okay, what observable determinable factor are you basing that definition on, and why should we take on this one when your definition seems less accurate than our definition that we previously agreed on? Even on their own premise, you don't operate that way. You operate as if, hey, my definition of woman is objectively better than your definition of woman. Okay, why? Can't answer.
There is a difference between the word woman and being a biological female.
I'm done with this music. The word woman has female as part of the word woman is made to encapsulate physically the age of a woman, the species of the woman, and also the gender of the woman. That's what the word serve. It was merely an extension to add other the determining factors, other factors to determine what you're speaking about. If I said girl, okay, I'm talking about a human female, but someone of a earlier human development cycle. Okay, you're a child, you're a toddler, you're an infant, right? There's distinctions. There's distinction. Like this is the part. This is where I say, hey, language has a purpose, and our education system is failing us when we have these brainless idiots. Sorry, I don't mean to call people idiots, but this is how it comes across. These people don't have any argument in reality. They just say, oh, it's a social construct. Okay, what is a social construct? An agreed upon contract. Okay, what was wrong with the previously agreed upon construct? Can't make the argument, but you want me to change my definition of woman. Get that out of my face. And this is what's wrong with our education system. And they just want us to spend money for what? Nothing.
But when we looked at the budget in Kentucky, the state receives $2 billion in federal education funding. Do you have a guarantee that the federal government, federal taxpayers will still provide $2 billion in education funding? That seems important to your state.
I'd rather, well, no, what I'd rather is a guarantee that my kids can read and write and do math. The amount of dollars, look, the number of dollars has gone up exponentially and our scores have gone the other way. So dollars are not proportional to educational success. What I want is success. And I've talked a lot about this. I think there are innovations we can do where there's more learning via some of the best teachers and we pay them more. I would like to have an NBA or NFL of teachers, the most extraordinary teachers, teach the entire country.
Who would run that? The education department?
And some of them, no, what you'd find is they'd be selected out, state by state, across the nation. Look, people say, oh, with the Department of Education would have no testing. I was in school before then. We did achievement tests in the 6th grade, the 5th grade, the 8th grade, and we compared ourselves across state lines. There were international testing.
Yeah.
You don't need the Department of Education for any of that. But what I can tell you is the best teacher in the world is not teaching the kids.
Yeah.
What we need to do is have the best teachers and pay them more, but they wouldn't teach 30 kids. They might teach 10 million kids at a time because it would be presented through the internet with local teachers reinforcing the lessons.
And I think that the reason why the left called this propaganda indoctrination education is because the true control is not really to educate people. It's really to just get people to believe a set of values. Believing a man can be a woman can be a man is them trying to, it's almost like a compliance test. They're trying to get people to buy in and to believe a certain set of values. This is why a lot of people call wokeness a religion, because it operates like one. Leftist ideology operates like a religion. And I also think that's one of the reasons why they're so hostile to religion, is because their political ideology operates as one. Purity test, right? If you say socialism doesn't work, it's blasphemy. They have their own beliefs that a man can become a woman. because they believe it to be the case. Just like you believe in God, you can believe a woman could be a man, and a man could be a woman, and a woman can be non-binary. Come on. I see why y'all operate. I see why leftists get so mad with religion, because you are one. Being a leftist is a religion. You have to believe certain things that is hard to prove. Actually, it's not hard to prove. It's easy to prove that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. All I got to do is give you a medical administrate medicine to you, give you the same dosage as a man, and you're a woman, and you can get cardiac arrest because your body wasn't made to handle the drugs the same way. But like I said, you can pretend, you could ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of reality. Consequences of reality says that, hey, this dosage is only men can really handle this amount of dosage. And if you're biologically a woman, you're screwed. But hey, you want to prove you're a man? Here you go. How much you bet your life on your truth? Not many, but I digress. I like this segment from Jesse Walters explaining kind of the focus of our education system in recent years.
So President Trump's getting rid of the Department of Education, and the Democrats are freaking out. But what type of education did people get from the department? Johnny hit Fort Myers Beach with a little quiz.
Should we eliminate the Department of Education?
No. I've never really had a problem with it.
Education is important.
Don't you feel that the Department of Education has been failing Americans?
No, I don't think so.
Who was the first president of the United States?
George Washington. But that's not big. Well, I grew up in the 90s, so maybe education was as slightly better than it was this year. But also, I read books on like political history. That's self-learning. And that's one of the reasons why I think I want to homeschool my kid, because I want to teach my kid the skills to learn stuff on his own. I think that's the number one skill I think will benefit Americans a lot, but that comes with curiosity. And I believe, it's the way schools go about things like homework, giving homework assignment. Like imagine that you spend 8 hours a day at an institution and they give you homework to do at the end of it. To me, I'm like, okay, did you really do your job? But that's because of the consequence of the fact that there's so many students in a class that, you're not sure if all the kids learned something. So you have to check if they knew what they're doing, or they were actually receiving and digesting the information. That's the consequences of homework. But in my view, homework is unnecessary. Like I don't do homework with my kids. It's like, hey, I taught you this. And throughout the day, I'll try to make references to what I taught him. Hey, you remember your numbers? How much is this? How much is that? You constantly reaffirm that throughout the day-to-day life. And I think self-learning is the most important thing that we have lost in our education system. That our education system doesn't give us opportunities to teach, to let us teach ourselves stuff. Like teaching yourself how to code, teaching yourself the piano, and this is why people love YouTube, because YouTube, you can learn how to do anything. You want to learn how to play chess? There's a YouTube tutorial for that. You want to play shogi, Japanese chess? You can learn it online. Everything's accessible online. And I think that's what Rand Paul was getting at with, we need more innovation in education, but the monopoly called the Department of Education is restricting that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm a big favor of dismantling the Department of Education. But let's continue with this clip.
Was it Bush?
George Washington.
Who was the second president?
I don't know. Theodore Roosevelt.
I think it was John Adams, if I remember correctly. But now I'm like, damn, he got me.
No, babe. That was like 150 years later.
All I know is George Washington and Abraham Lincoln.
No.
Mr. Donald J. Trump.
And my pronouns are kiss my ass.
Name the 3 branches of government.
The House, Senate. Oh wait, no. The House and Senate are technically one branch. You got the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. There you go.
My gosh. Judicial?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Prove every stereotype rule. Hey, look, guys, look. I'm telling you, the public school system, they failed the minorities. I'm just saying this right now. I'm just telling you guys this right now.
The president, we have Congress, and Kylie, what's the third? Legislative, executive. I don't know the third one.
Do you want to put our heads together?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I don't got anything.
That didn't work.
How many Supreme Court justices do we have?
2.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lack of curiosity in our culture. And I think that's the biggest thing. Because I think we had a curious culture. If we had people who, hey, I just want to read something informative about my country. And also, I think in our education system, we were taught not to really care about our country like that. That's one thing I noticed when I used to go to public school, is that it had this, like, you being taught by a teacher. Your teacher, they can really influence how you perceive information, right? If your teacher's teaching you stuff and they trying to tell you, oh, like they're disgruntled about America, or they say, oh, this is not a good country and all this stuff. What would make you want to learn more about the country if you've been taught that it's a bad thing to like America, be an American? And I think that's one of the reasons why I think I kind of support, Ron DeSantis, President Trump really coming in here and try to make it more patriotic. Because I'm like, it's hard to want to learn about something that you hate. And I think our education system, they put too much focus on pushing left-wing ideology. But why were we surprised when the Department of Education is housed, the federal Department of Education is housed at Washington, which is a state or a district that votes 90% for the Democratic Party. So a lot of these people who work in Washington are Democrats, liberals, and they run and they're a majority in these institutions, and their bias allows them to push these things down the rest of the country's throat. And you wonder why young people, or especially if they go to college, are more likely to say that socialism is just as popular as capitalism, because they're being taught that. Their perception is being warped or shaped by that. And this is why I think a lot of conservatives are very scared to give off their children to the public school system. And until Democrats find an alternative or address these concerns, I think they don't got no leg to stand on when it comes to education, especially with the results that has been given by an institution that's primarily ran by Democrats. Why would we task Democrats to fix a problem that they were a part of? And actually, the problem actually helps them maintain political power. What political incentive does Democrats have to change the current state of education when, if education continues going down this route, Democrats will always win elections? Democrats, this is one reason why I think young people are always more left-leaning than their parents, because of the fact that they're educated. They spend most of their time with teachers that are left-wing. Institutions that's teaching them left-wing ideology like anti-racism, critical race theory in a different form. Right? These are left-wing values that they're trying to push onto your kids. And this is why many conservatives feel that the education system operates like a propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. Your daughter comes out, she loves God, she loves all this. You send her to public school for 12 years. She comes out a raging feminist. And you're like, what the hell happened? You didn't even hit college yet. What's going on? Because there's a lot of left-wing influences in our education system. We're chasing trends instead of tracing something of substance that have worked since the beginning of time. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Those are the basics. Let's focus on the basics. No, teachers want to focus on other stuff. They want to focus on social justice, criminal justice. Oh, welfare. Oh, socialism. Oh, liberal ideology, transgenderism, tolerance. The teachers want to start teaching your kids values, when that was never the job of the teacher in the first place. The parents was responsible for teaching values, not the schools. But the schools decided, hey, we should be teaching values. And what happened if the teacher's values conflict with the parents' values? Well, the teachers have the kids longer with them than you do. You have to work. You have to maintain the living for the child, while the teacher gets to spend 8 hours a day with your child, teaching them who knows what. And then you're surprised when your son comes back and says, I think I'm a girl, daddy. And this is the problem that liberals, Democrats, they don't want to address. This is why they say, we don't want to talk about social issues, because they know the social issues is going to expose something very blatantly wrong with what the Democratic Party is doing. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How you feel about our education system? What are your thoughts on ways that we can change and fix our education system? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.